So the United States just majorly threatened essentially everyone, essentially all of their non-allies, all right? The United States has essentially threatened all of them. So this is huge that they're coming out. They have deployed their nuclear triad, essentially, all right? Everything's been deployed except the ICBMs, okay? So this is very serious that the United States is doing this. What kind of message are they sending? Who are they trying to threaten? It seems fairly obvious, but we're not exactly sure. But they're definitely sending threats, all right? It seems like they're threatening China, all right? It seems like they're threatening Saudi Arabia, and it seems like they're threatening Iran, all right? So Biden came out just a few days ago and said that there will be consequences for Saudi Arabia for this OPEC plus oil cut, okay? He said it was essentially a threat. That's what it was called in the media, was Biden. This is an article out of CNBC. Biden threatens consequences for Saudi Arabia after OPEC cut. Is this the consequence that he's threatening? Is this another threat that he's showing? Are we flexing our muscles? Who knows? But it seems like the United States is definitely sending a clear message to the BRICS nations, all right? So let's dive into exactly what's going on, what kind of movement is happening with the United States nuclear arsenal, all right? It seems like they are really showing their force, all right? They're really flexing their muscles right now. So get this, all right? So days after threatening Saudi Arabia, this is a headline, U.S. nuclear submarine makes a very rare appearance in the Arabian Sea, okay? So this is a CENTCOM nuclear submarine. It's the USS West Virginia ballistic missile submarine. All right, ballistic missiles. This is a nuclear armed submarine, and they did this very suspicious thing where they made it known their location. They came to the surface, which is very rare, never happens, and they also made their location known, which never ever happens. We never know exactly where these nuclear subs exactly are at. We never know. But they came out in the Arabian Sea, which borders Saudi Arabia, or it's right there, right? It might not border it, but it's right there. There's countries right around it. The Gulf goes in there, all right? It's right there, all right? Iran borders it. Major countries border this sea, and the U.S. ballistic missile submarine got up in there, and they didn't just get up in there, they posted on their Twitters out there in there, and they said that they also welcomed General Eric Kurilla, who went aboard the USS West Virginia for about 8 hours, okay? So the sub came to the surface and a U.S. general went aboard it in the Arabian Sea. This is very strange, very peculiar, very just ominous and threatening, all right? Very threatening, very pushing of buttons, okay? And then they took pictures of it. It was a photo op, and then it was posted on CENTCOM's Twitter, U.S. Central Command Twitter, all right? So what exactly is going on? Why are they doing this? Why did they send their nuclear sub to the Arabian Sea, all right? This is very strange, very peculiar that they would do this, okay? So this was also just one of the things that they have done, all right? Another thing happened too. That's a huge escalation as well. So not just the nuclear subs were activated, the nuclear bombers were activated and are moving around as well. Okay, so the U.S. Air Force confirms deploying of B-1 nuclear bombers to Guam. It says, while China struggles with skilled fighter pilots. That's what this article says, all right? So U.S. Air Force confirms deploying B-1 bombers to Guam, all right? So a lot of activity, which is not far from China, all right? Guam is would essentially be our main hub if a war with China broke out. So the U.S. is moving B-1 bombers to Guam, all right, in case China invades Taiwan. I made a video yesterday about a top U.S. Pentagon naval admiral came out and said that China will invade Taiwan before the end of 2022, and he said bare minimum 2023. But in his heart, he thinks China will invade before the end of the year. Okay, so we will see the U.S. dragged into another war, another conflict before the end of this year, if his prediction is right, which it seems like it's getting very close. Okay, now we are deploying nuclear bombers to Guam, and they're specifically saying it's to counter China, it's to deal with China's buildup, and it's also to deal with North Korea's repeated tests, ICBM tests. All right, they're saying that they want to have these B-1 bombers in the area in case something does escalate. All right, so very serious that the U.S. is doing this. All right, Russia also deployed their nuclear bombers a few days ago to NATO's border. Okay, Norway, miles, I believe it was 20 miles from the border of Norway. All right, and now the U.S. is deploying bombers to China's backyard. All right, and to also Saudi Arabia and Iran's backyard. We have nuclear subs that are coming to the surface. This literally never happens. They never tell their location. This is very strange and very peculiar that they would even do this. All right, so what do you think about this? What do you think about all of these massive bombers being deployed, all right, and sent around everywhere? What do you think about this? All right, the U.S. Navy is also rearming with, quote, rearms, quote, heavy lifter destroyer with anti-ship missiles for war in Western Pacific. All right, this is also another article that just came out. So it's propaganda war, you know what I mean? All these articles come out because the U.S. military is putting this out. Just like Russia, China, Iran, they all have their own agendas and their own narratives that they put out, okay? And they're saying that we are arming our heavy lifter destroyer with anti-ship missiles for war in the Western Pacific with China, okay? Very serious, very big escalation from the United States. It's really showing that something big is about to happen, because we don't even see this kind of activity near Ukraine. You know what I mean? We don't see that, but we see this near China. I believe this China ordeal is going to be the real big one. All right, this is shutting off all the supplies. All right, these sanctions, this is an economic attack, but I feel like this war with China will potentially be a kinetic, real war with the United States fighting China. All right, hopefully we don't see that, but even the Pentagon naval chief is warning of this before the end of 2022. So get ready now, guys. Get prepared. Get your stuff now before China cuts off the supply chain, because if there is a big war, that's China's ace in the hole, is to just cut off the supply chain at any moment. So thank you guys for watching. You guys stay safe. Thank you guys for watching me and listening to me rant. And you guys have a big old blessed day.